Four corners. Olympic champions. Lynne Blanche and Claire Daniel. This image from an ancient Greek vase depicts an athlete throwing a javelin. Olympic medals: gold for first place, left, silver for second, middle, and bronze for third, right. Olympic dreams. The first Olympic Games were held in Greece nearly 3,000 years ago. The competition began as one foot race. In later years, events were added: chariot races, other foot races, wrestling, and discus throwing. In 1896, the first modern Olympic Games were held in Athens, Greece. More than 300 male athletes competed in over 40 events. Winners in 1896 were awarded a silver medal and a crown of olive leaves. Taking part in the Olympic Games is a dream come true for many athletes today. It is the world's leading sports competition. Thousands of athletes gather from around the world to test themselves against the best of the best in hundreds of different events. Athletes train for years before the Olympic Games. Even as children, their lives often center on sport, and they combine school with training and competing. They work hard for their chance to participate in the Olympics. Whether they win or not, all Olympic athletes are champions. This book is about the lives and accomplishments of 6 Olympic champions. The Olympic flag shows 5 connected rings that represent different parts of the world. In 1996, athletes from all over the world competed at the Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Fast facts. Name: Catherine Freeman. Date of birth: February 16, 1973. Birthplace: Mackay, Queensland, Australia. Sport: athletics. Olympic medals: 1 silver in 1996, 1 gold in 2000. Cathy Freeman. The 2000 Olympics were about to begin in Sydney, Australia. More than 3 billion people watched on television as a woman lit the Olympic flame. That woman was Cathy Freeman. It was an important moment for Cathy and for all Australians. Cathy is an Aboriginal Australian. For many years, Aboriginal people have struggled to be treated in the same way as other Australians. Cathy's torch was a symbol of hope for Aboriginal Australians. Cathy Freeman lights the Olympic flame for the 2000 Olympics. In Sydney, Australia. Cathy was born in 1973 in Mackay, Queensland, Australia. She is one of 5 children. Cathy's father, Norman, was a talented rugby player whose nickname was Twinkle Toes. As a child, Cathy discovered that she liked to run. She began winning races when she was just 8 years old. Cathy received encouragement from her family. Once her mother, Cecilia, suggested she pin a note on her bedroom wall that read, "I am the world's greatest athlete." By the time Cathy was a teenager, she was entering important races all over the world in which she was often successful. When Cathy was 11, her family predicted she would run in the Olympics one day. The Olympic flame. The Olympic flame is lit by a torch at the opening of the Games. Carrying the torch that lights the flame is a great honor. People, who have been chosen ahead of time, take turns carrying the torch from Olympia, Greece, to the host city. These people are often chosen because they are an inspiration to fellow citizens. When Cathy was 19, she participated in the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, Spain. She did not run fast enough to qualify for the 400-meter final at those Games. 2 years later, she won 2 events at the Commonwealth Games, an international competition which was held in Victoria, Canada. Cathy proudly carried both the Australian and Aboriginal flags around the track to celebrate her success. She told a reporter, "I know that when Aboriginal people look at that flag, they all feel good about themselves." Cathy runs in the women's 400-meter final at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. In 1996, Cathy competed in her second Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. She ran a personal best time of 48.63 seconds in the 400-meter final and finished in second place. Kathy's silver medal was the first ever won by an Aboriginal Australian in an individual event. 4 years later, in 2000, the Olympic Games were held in Sydney, Australia. It was time for Kathy to show the world what she could do. She won the 400-meter final with ease. She draped the Australian and Aboriginal flags together and ran a victory lap around the track. Her fans from all over the world cheered. Kathy Freeman is a role model for young athletes all over the world. Kathy won a gold medal at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. Fast facts. Name, Mark Gagnon. Date of birth, May 24, 1975. Birthplace, Chicoutimi, Quebec, Canada. Sport, short track, speed skating. Olympic medals, 1 bronze in 1994, 1 gold in 1998, 2 gold and 1 bronze in 2002. Mark Gagnon leads the 1,000-meter short track speed skating race at the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, Utah, USA. Mark Gagnon. Mark Gagnon began his journey towards the Olympics when he was just a toddler. Mark was born in Chicoutimi, Quebec, Canada, in 1975. His parents thought Mark's older brother, Sylvain, was a talented speed skater, so they took him to a skating rink and coached him. They brought Mark along with them. He started skating when he was 3 years old. Mark, aged 4, wears his first long blades for a race. Mark entered his first regional race when he was 4. By the time he was 15, he was skating on the Canadian national team. Mark worked hard, and he won his first world championship beating his brother Sylvain when he was just 17. Mark became fast enough to qualify for 3 consecutive Winter Olympics. He won a bronze medal in Lillehammer, Norway, in 1994 for the 1,000-meter short track event. Mark then won a gold medal with Canada's short track relay team at Nagano, Japan, in 1998. Mark celebrates with his mum Jocelyn, left, his dad Marcel, right, and his older brother Sylvain, far right. Mark, below, races in one of his individual speed skating events. Mark trains 6 days a week, 5 days skating and 1 day cycling. Olympic training. Athletes train for many years to achieve the standard needed to compete in the Olympics. Several training centers have been established around the world to aid athletes of all levels, including Olympians. Athletes visit these centers to receive expert training and coaching. 2 Olympic medals is a tremendous accomplishment. Yet Mark was disappointed. His dream had been to win the gold in an individual race. He decided to end his skating career. Mark said, "In my heart, I was finished with skating. I was tired and fed up." The stress of training and competing had been too much for Mark. Retirement did not last long. Mark could not stay away from the ice. In 1999, he began training once more. Mark competed in several short-track skating events at the 2002 Winter Olympic Games in Salt Lake City, Utah, USA. In the individual 1,500-meter event, Mark won a bronze medal. When it was time for the 500-meter event, Mark stopped thinking about his disappointment 4 years before. He knew he had to concentrate on winning and nothing else. With less than a lap to go, he was still in second place. Mark's skate blades flashed as he whipped around the track and into the lead. He crossed the finish line in first place. His time was 41.802 seconds, a new Olympic record. Mark's Olympic dream had finally come true. Mark also won a gold medal in the 5,000-meter relay. This was his 5th medal in short-track speed skating. Mark became the most decorated Canadian in Winter Olympics history. Gold medalist Mark Middle celebrates with the silver and bronze medalists at the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. Fast facts. Name, Tanny Gray Thompson. Date of birth, July 26, 1969. Birthplace, Cardiff, Wales, United Kingdom. Sport, wheelchair racing. Olympic medals, 4 gold in 1992, 1 gold in 1996, 4 gold in 2000. Tanni Grey-Thompson. Tanni Grey-Thompson is one of the world's best athletes. She is also paralyzed from the waist down and has been since she was 8 years old. Her paralysis did not stop Tanni becoming an Olympic champion. Tanni was born in 1969 in Cardiff, Wales, in the United Kingdom. At birth, she had spina bifida, a disease of the spine. Even so, her parents encouraged their lively daughter to try new things. Tanni competes at the highest level in wheelchair racing events. As a girl, Tanni made lots of friends at Brownies. Tanni began playing wheelchair basketball and tennis in her early teens. She swam and took up archery. Then she found the sport that she really loved: wheelchair racing. As a young girl, Tanni watched the London Marathon on television. She told her mother she was going to compete in that race one day. Tanni raced for the first time when she was 13. Though she had 2 operations over the next 4 years, she kept training. She wanted to compete in wheelchair track events at the 1988 Paralympics in Seoul, South Korea. The Paralympic Games. The Paralympic Games are for athletes who have physical challenges. The Games are held in the same years as the Olympics and in the same cities. Tanni trains in a custom-built wheelchair 12 to 15 times a week. Tanni celebrates winning the 800-meter final at the 2000 in Sydney. Once Tanni decided to compete, she tried her hardest. She worked out in the rain and in the cold. She continued to Paralympic Games play tennis and basketball to keep fit. At the age of 19, she went to the Paralympics in Seoul. She returned with a bronze medal in the 200-meter race. Then Tanni had a setback. She had to have surgery on her spine. This prevented her from training and competing for a full year. Once she had recovered, Tanni began training again. She traveled to Barcelona, Spain, for the 1992 Paralympics. There she won 4 gold medals. The same year, she competed in the London Marathon, just as she had predicted years before. Tanni came first. Not satisfied with just one win, she has won the London Marathon 6 times. Tanni went on to compete at the 1996 Paralympics in Atlanta and the 2000 Paralympics in Sydney. She won many more gold medals there. She says of her successes, "If you put the hard work in, you have a chance of fulfilling your dream." When not training or competing, Tanni works for national sports organizations. She also lectures and appears on television and radio. Tanni has shown the world what happens if you aim high and work hard. Tanni displays some of her medals from the Paralympics. Tanni speaks at the Laureus Sportswoman Conference in Monaco, 2003. Fast facts. Name: Haile Gebrselassie, sometimes spelt Gebrselassie. Date of birth: April 18, 1973. Birthplace: Arsi, Ethiopia. Sport: track. Olympic medals: 1 gold in 1996, 1 gold in 2000. Haile Gebrselassie. Haile Gebrselassie loves to run. As a boy, he ran around the farm and across the fields in Ethiopia where he grew up. Every day, he ran 10 kilometers to school and 10 kilometers home again. When Haile was 7 years old, an Ethiopian runner named Miritz Yifter won 2 gold medals at the 1980 Olympic Games in Moscow. Haile began to dream about racing in the Olympics himself one day. As a long-distance runner, he had to build up the strength and endurance to run for a long time without stopping. Haile used to run on hilly country roads as a child. Haile's training includes running a total of 30 kilometers a day. Aged 15, Haile ran in the marathon in Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia. He did well in the 40-kilometer race, but he knew he could run much faster if he trained with a coach. Haile trained hard with his coach in Addis Ababa. At 1.6 meters tall, he had to run at a faster pace just to keep up with taller runners. His determination gave him the edge that he needed to win. Hailey competes in the 3,000-meter race at the World Indoor Championships in Paris, France. Hailey, middle, runs in the 10,000-meter final during the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, USA. Timing it. Sometimes just a fraction of a second separates competitors in track events. Officials use stopwatches, multi-lane timers, and automatic timing systems to time the runners. The most advanced systems have electronic starting pistols and can produce digital photos of the finish. In 1992, Hailey competed at the World Junior Athletics Championship in Seoul, South Korea. He won the 5,000 and 10,000-meter races. It was the beginning of a winning streak. At the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, USA, Hailey ran behind his friend Paul Turgott, of Kenya, for most of the 10,000-meter race. Then, in the final lap, he raced ahead to win the Olympic gold medal. He had achieved his dream. During the next 4 years, Hailey set world records at several distances. He became a popular runner. He was known for his powerful sprint finish and his wide smile. In 2000, an ankle injury almost prevented Hailey from competing in the Olympics in Sydney. However, despite not being 100% fit, Hailey did run. By the last lap of the 10,000-meter final, he found himself just behind Paul Turgott again. With a final burst of energy, Hailey raced ahead of Paul to win the gold medal. It was the closest 10,000-meter race in Olympic history. Hailey continues to race, challenging himself at different distances. He also works with the United Nations to make people aware of important issues in Ethiopia. Hailey has participated in events that help people in need and people with disabilities. Hailey, left, won the 10,000-meter race at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney by only 0.09 of a second. Fast facts. Name, Pablo Morales. Date of birth, December 5, 1964. Birthplace, Chicago, Illinois, United States. Sport, swimming. Olympic medals, 1 gold and 2 silver in 1984, 2 gold in 1992. Pablo Morales. Pablo's parents moved from Cuba to Chicago, USA, before his birth in 1964. The Morales family then moved to California in 1966. Pablo began swimming when he was very young at his mother's request. She had nearly drowned in Cuba and hoped that teaching her children to swim at a young age would keep them safe in the water. At that time, Pablo just wanted to have fun swimming. He told a coach, "I was a terror during those swimming lessons. I didn't really listen." Pablo's favorite swimming stroke is the butterfly. When Pablo was 8 years old, he joined a swimming team as a beginner. He says he had only a little bit of ability. However, by the time he was 10, Pablo was first in the national rankings in the 100-meter butterfly for his age group. At the start of his teen years, Pablo began to train twice a day. He earned the top ranking for 100-meter butterfly every year until he was 16. He also held the record for fastest 100-meter butterfly in high school. Between training and competitions, Pablo studied hard and earned high marks. He also found time to volunteer at local hospitals and children's groups. Pablo was inspired by Olympic swimmer Mark Spitz, left, to train hard and perfect his butterfly stroke. Pablo's swimming stroke. The butterfly stroke takes strong arms. The swimmer's arms and shoulders move up over the water as the legs push the body forwards. Pablo went to Stanford University from 1983 to 1987, where he continued to swim. He won more university swimming events than any other American. While in university, Pablo competed at the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, USA. He won 2 silver medals and 1 gold. The gold medal was for a relay race, but what Pablo really wanted was a gold for the individual butterfly race. In 1987, Pablo commenced studying law. He took time off from studying to train for the 1988 Olympics in Seoul, South Korea. Then came a huge disappointment. Pablo was not fast enough to make the U.S. Olympic team. Pablo was overjoyed to win a gold medal at the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, Spain. Missing the Olympics would have discouraged most swimmers. Instead, Pablo looked ahead to the next Olympics. At the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, Spain, he won 2 gold medals for the 100-meter butterfly and the 400-meter medley relay. Pablo completed his law degree in 1994. Over the next few years, he coached swimming at a couple of different universities in California. In 2001, Pablo began working at a swimming camp in Nebraska. As the head coach, he teaches students how to set goals and to become the best swimmers they can be. Pablo said he won a gold medal because he worked hard and did not give up. Members of the U.S. relay team show their gold medals after their Olympic victory in Barcelona in 1992. From the left are Nelson Diebel, Pablo Morales, Jeff Rouse, and John Olson. Fast facts. Name, Christy Yamaguchi. Date of birth, July 12, 1971. Birthplace, Hayward, California, United States. Sport, figure skating. Olympic medals, 1 gold in 1992, Christy Yamaguchi. Grace, beauty, style. These words are often used to describe Christy Yamaguchi's skating. However, when Christy was born in 1971 in Hayward, California, USA, her feet turned inwards. She had to wear casts and corrective shoes to fix them. When she was 4 years old, her doctors said that she needed to exercise to strengthen her legs. Her parents enrolled her in ballet classes. At 5 years old, Christy saw Dorothy Hamill skate. From then on, she wanted to do what Hamill had done, win an Olympic gold medal. Christy began ice skating lessons at 6 years old. By the time she was 8, her legs were much stronger. Every morning Christy would get up at 4 o'clock to skate for 5 hours before she went to school. In 1983, when Christy was 11, she began skating with a partner, Rudy Galindo. They won many pair skating competitions. At the same time, Christy skated by herself. From 1986 to 1989, she participated in national and world singles skating competitions. Christy moves gracefully, like a dancer, when she skates. Christy's inspiration. For many athletes, the Olympic dream begins in childhood. While watching their favorite Olympians, Christy was inspired by Olympic skater Dorothy Hamill, above. She says, "Every little girl wanted to be just like Dorothy, and I was no exception." Christy performs during an exhibition at the 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville, France. U.S. Olympic skaters enjoy a visit to Central Park Ice Rink in 1993. From the left are Paul Wiley, Christy Yamaguchi, and Scott Hamilton. When Christy was 20 years old, she competed in the 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville, France. She decided to skate in the singles event. Before she skated, she received a big surprise. Dorothy Hamill was backstage to wish her luck. During Christy's routine, she fell on a difficult jump. She knew she could not give up. Quickly, she regained her balance and continued skating in her usual graceful style. Despite her fall, the judges awarded Christy the highest scores. The gold medal was hers. Christy accepts the cheers of the crowd after winning the gold medal at the 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville. Christy performs a spectacular jump at the Winter Olympics in Albertville. After achieving her goal, Christy established the Always Dream Foundation. This foundation raises money to help children in need and children with disabilities achieve their goals. Christy continues to skate, but on a professional level. She has been recognized for her skating ability with many awards. Christy was also inducted into the World and U.S. Figure Skating Halls of Fame in 1998. Christy displays her gold medal at the 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville. Ice sledge hockey is a popular sport in the Winter Paralympics. Olympic sports. The Olympic and Paralympic Games have been divided into the Summer Games and Winter Games. Each competition takes place every 4 years, but, since 1992, not during the same year. There are 2 years between the Summer Games and the Winter Games. Sports of the Winter Games. Olympics. Biathlon, 2 events, bobsleigh, curling, ice hockey, luge, skating, skiing. Paralympics. Alpine skiing, ice sledge hockey, Nordic skiing, wheelchair curling. An Olympic athlete competes in the women's giant slalom event at the 2002 Winter Games. Sports of the Summer Games. Olympics. Aquatics includes diving and swimming, archery, athletics, badminton, baseball, basketball, boxing, canoeing/kayaking, cycling, equestrian sports. Horseback riding, fencing, football, soccer, gymnastics, handball, hockey, judo, modern pentathlon, 5 events, rowing, sailing, shooting, softball, table tennis, taekwondo, tennis, triathlon, 3 events, volleyball, weightlifting, wrestling. Paralympics. Archery, boccia, cycling, equestrian, horseback riding, football, soccer, 5-a-side, swimming, table tennis, track and field, volleyball, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair fencing, football, soccer, 7-a-side, wheelchair rugby, goalball, wheelchair tennis, judo, powerlifting, sailing shooting. A Paralympic athlete plays basketball.